Welcome to Data Science in Python. This video, we're going to look specifically at creating scatterplots, okay, and working with scatterplots. And I have an example of what I mean by a scatterplot over here. So this is what we're going to be working towards, and we're going to build the code that does that. And you'll see how everything fits together, hopefully. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to import our package that is going to do all the plotting. And if you've watched any of the previous videos, we're going to use the same one as the last time. But this time we're going to do a lot more with it. Okay, so here it pops up what it is, matplotlib. And I think this, because it's MATLAB type code, that's why it came out this way. I'm not for sure on that. But if you've used MATLAB, the code is pretty similar. Okay, so here, let's see, for plotting. This is going to give us our tools to do some plotting. There's some other ones that we'll look at later, but right now we're going to stick with this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to read this in. And the first thing we're going to do is create a simple plot. And often it's good to number the plots just because you might want to work on different figures at different times. So you would figure, and then you would put a 1 in here, which one you want it to be. Okay, so this is figure 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plot. Well, let's go back and look at the data real quick before we plot anything, in case you're not familiar. We're using the impulsivity data, and what we want to plot right now is impulsivity 1 against age. Well, that's what we're after right now, just something really simple. Okay, so let's plot imp1 df, and remember, you can use the dot to get the variable out of it. You don't have to do the brackets with the quotes if you don't want to. Some people prefer to do that, but other people don't really care. So, and the next thing you need to do is you need to sort of tell it when you're done working on the plot. So we're going to put this plot show, and this will cause our plot to come up in the plot window. So if I run this bit here, so it's saying, let's create a figure. Let's put a comment here. Create a figure. Then at the end of this, we want to, just for notes, plot imp1 versus age. And this one allows us to see to look at the plot. Okay, so if we were to run this here, now remember, this is our target. Let's see, where do we end up with? Okay, that is not our target. And the key here thing that we need to be aware of is when we tell it to plot, it's just going to connect all the dots. Okay, that's its default mode. Let's just connect all the dots. Is that a good idea? Don't know, but that's what it does. Okay, so we're going to have to make some modifications to what we have here. So be ready to be doing some copying and pasting in order to keep this video relatively short. So I'm just going to take what I have here, and I'm just going to make a few changes to it. So copy this, paste it. Simple as that. I'm going to change the figure number so we can keep track of our figures. Now, if I just want it to be like not connected, I can do B and then I can put O. So B is going to make it blue. O is the symbol that it's going to use. And in a later video, I'm going to show you the different symbols. But right now, we're just going to stick with this. We're going to look at different symbols and colors in a different video. Might be 2 different videos. So if I run this, let's see what happens. All I did was change just this in quotes, B-O. And that's what I get. Now that's getting closer to what I wanted. However, I don't have any labels on the axis, so this doesn't mean anything here, right? If you stare at that, you have no idea what that means. That's why we need to label things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this in order to keep our time limit down. I try to use the SpongeBob rule. Try to keep it under 11 minutes always. And hopefully I stay much lower than that. All right, so the next thing we need to do is simply change the axis. Okay, so X label. And then here I'm going to put in age. And we're going to see what this does. Now, remember, I changed this to 3, and I've added this line here. And if I do this here, let's see what happens. And sure enough, age shows up. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to make another plot. I'm just going to add the other label to this right here, just to keep ourselves reasonably timed. So I'm going to plot here Y label. And this is going to be Impulsivity 1. Now, if I do this, I get this picture, which is closer to what I want. But depending on what you're doing, you may or may not want a title at the top. Here we don't have a title at the top. If we do want a title at the top, then we can copy and paste this. Okay. And make this number 4. And let me move this up on the screen for you. And we're just going to add one more statement, PLT, title. And then we're just going to do Impulsivity 1 versus age. Now, if I run this, we get this picture, which is what we're after. And here you can actually see something in the picture, okay? Because now you have some labels, you can actually say something about this. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a direction. So the direction here is, I would say, positive. How would I say that? This corner is kind of empty, and it just looks like in general it might be going that way versus that way. Your eyes might see something different. The strength is really weak, so it's hard to see any pattern. So I would put weak or very weak. And let's see the form. If we don't know what the form is, especially in this case, it's so ugly to look at. I'm just going to put linear because I don't have any reason to think that it's non-linear. All right, so this is where we're going to stop. And in the next video, we're going to look at how to modify these plots more so that we can get a nicer plot at the end and maybe overlay some plots and things like that. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.